Hey there, today we are going to be working on parentheses and brackets. So, a couple of things to know first is that a bracket, which looks like this, is used to group things together, and parentheses, that look like this, are a type of bracket to show what operations to do first. Essentially, brackets and parentheses are here to help us make a difficult problem easier and to know how to solve that problem to get the correct and most accurate answer. Remember our order of operations, which you can say PEMDAS or GEMDAS, but we do the groupings first, so that's why I say GEMDAS, is our groupings go first. Exponents, if you have any. Then you have multiplication and division left to right. And then you have addition and subtraction left to right. Again, this information helps us get the most accurate answer to a math problem. You may be given an expression where you have a variable. Remember that a variable is just a letter or a symbol that represents a number or an unknown within an expression or equation. So let's take a look at one type of expression. Let's look at 6, and let's do a bracket and parentheses, and let's do 2x plus 5 minus 3 when x equals 4. Okay? That x equals 4 tells us what number we're going to put in place in our expression so that we get the best answer. So the first thing we always want to do before we even start to solve is we want to put in our variable, the value of our variable. So I'm going to rewrite the equation with the value of the variable in there. Okay, so now that we have the variable in there, the parentheses tell us that we are going to do this part of the expression first. Within that, we're going to use our GEMDAS. So inside of this grouping, we have multiplication and division, and we have addition and subtraction. We're going to do our multiplication and division first. Let me show you what that's going to look like. 2 times 4 equals 8. We still have the plus 5 that we need to bring down and minus 3. Now, we still have parentheses. We've done the multiplication part first. Now we have to do the addition. So we then have 6 times, parenthesis, 8 plus 5 is 13, minus 3, and then we have our bracket. Since we've done what was in parentheses, now we have to expand a little bit further and do what's inside the bracket. The bracket comes next. We always work from the inside out. Now we can do 13 minus 3. Our expression becomes 6 times 13 minus 3 is 10. At this point, it's very easy to figure out what to do next. First of all, a number up against a bracket like this, we talked about in a previous lesson, means multiplication. So it really means 6 times 10, or it means 6 times 10. Remember we said the little dot, or the brackets, or the multiplication sign all worked together. What is 6 times 10? 6 times 10 is 60. So in this expression, when it's solved, it is 60. The answer is 60. There are going to be times when you are given a group of numbers and you have to follow the order of operations without parentheses. Remember that when you get a question like that, or you have to do work like that, you just follow the regular order of operations. If there aren't any parentheses, you move on to exponents. If there aren't any exponents, you'll move on to multiplication and division from left to right, and then addition and subtraction. So let's work through an expression that doesn't have a variable and doesn't have any parentheses. Let's do 5 times 4 minus 9 plus 1. Working on this from left to right, we're going to start with 5 times 4 because this is the multiplication and division, and we move from left to right. 5 times 4 is 20. So then we have 20 minus 9 plus 1. The next thing we want to do is addition and subtraction from left to right. So 20 minus 9 is 21 plus 1. And then we can do our final operation, and 21 plus 1 is 22. So this is an example of what it would look like if you didn't have any parentheses. Now what I'm curious about is, how would this change if we did have parentheses? How would this change if we did have parentheses? 5 times 4 minus 9 plus 1. All right, so we're going to start off with our parentheses. 9 plus 1 is 10. So we have 5 times 4 minus 10. Now we're going to do our multiplication from left to right. 5 times 4 is 20 minus 10. And 20 minus 10 is 10. 10 is a little bit different than our original answer, which was 22. Notice that I used the same numbers, 5, 4. I used the same operations, multiplication. The only difference was that we had parentheses here and no parentheses above. Instead of being minus 10, it was minus 9, and then we added 1 back. Now the parentheses made it minus 10. an expression or an equation, and you're going to have to decide whether or not you're going to have to decide where to put the brackets and parentheses. Okay, so if you have to decide where to put the brackets and parentheses, let's start out with 2 plus 16 minus 3 times 2 equals 28. This is one of those where you kind of have to do a little bit of educated guessing. I know that if I do 2 plus 16, that's going to be 18, and if I take away 3, that's going to be 15, and I know 15 times 2 is 30. So I know that that's not going to be, I'm not going to just do it in order. So what if I did 2 plus 16 minus 6? What if I put the parentheses right here? So if I did 2 plus 16 minus 6, because the parentheses would go here, that would be 2 plus 16 is 18, minus 6 equals 12, so that one can't be it. So then I might try 2 plus 16 in parentheses minus 3 times 2. That would give me 18 minus 6 again, so that would give me 12. That's not 28. So let's try putting the parentheses in the middle. 2 plus 16 minus 3 times 2. 16 minus 3 is 13. So then I have 2 plus 13 times 2. I have to do my multiplication next. So 13 times 2 is 26. So I then have 2 plus 26, which equals 28. So I know that my parentheses are going to go right around those two numbers to make this true. Again, sometimes we have to try a couple different things until we get the right answer. So this is where you have to take what you already know about math, what you already know about GEMDAS, and you have to put those things into play to be able to solve the problem. For instance, you're going to be given something that may have many options. You may have 2 times 6 plus 2 divided by, and let's do equals 4. All right, so let's take a look and see how this is going to work. All right, let's take a look and see how this is going to work. If we do 2 times 6 first, that's 12 plus 2 divided by 4, all of that divided by 4. So that's going to be 14 divided by 4. Well, I know that I cannot evenly divide 14 by 4, so I know that answer choice A is not the right answer. So now we're going to try B, and so we go in here, and the first thing that we have to do is we have to look at the fact that there are brackets right here and parentheses right here. So we do 6 plus 2, which is 8, and we divide by 4. So then we have 2 times whatever this is. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So this could be the answer. We have to try every single answer choice. So we're going to go with this one. 2 divided by 4. Well, I know that we don't have any half numbers here. And so we're not going to do 2 divided by 4 because we would end up with a fraction or a decimal. All right, on this one, we're going to go in and do 6 plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. So then we have to do multiplication and division from left to right. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Answer choice D would be another correct answer. So it's important for you to check all of your answers because you may have more than one answer. There's more than one way to get to an answer sometimes. So make sure that you're double checking that. All right. If you have any questions or need any help with anything, please don't hesitate to come and see me.